Welcome back to Camo's Mirror, the podcast where we look in the mirror at ourselves and the world around us. I'm your host, Camo, and today we're diving into a topic that's near and dear to anyone who's ever stumbled on the path to success, which, let's be honest, is all of us. Before we get started, a quick reminder. This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. Always consult with certified professionals for personalized advice. So the title of today's topic is The Upside of Failure, Embracing Setbacks. In a success-obsessed culture, we're flipping the script. Discover why your failures might be the best things that ever happened to you. Joining me today is Solomon, a seasoned subject matter expert in human development and resilience. Solomon, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Camo. I'm excited to dive into this topic because, in my experience, embracing failure is one of the most powerful things anyone can do to drive personal and professional growth.
Absolutely. Let's start with the big picture. Why do you think society tends to view failure as something negative?
That's a great question. Society often equates failure with weakness or inadequacy because we live in a results-driven world. From a young age, we're conditioned to celebrate successes and shy away from setbacks. The pressure to achieve can be overwhelming, and failure is often seen as a deviation from that ideal path. But the reality is that failure is not only inevitable, it could be essential. When we fail, we're forced to confront our limitations and assumptions. It's in those moments that we learn the most about ourselves and what it takes to succeed. The key is in how we respond to those failures. If we view them as opportunities to grow rather than as dead ends, we open ourselves up to a wealth of possibilities.
That's a powerful perspective, Solomon. Let's talk about some real-world examples. In business, for instance, we often hear about companies that started out rocky but eventually found their footing. What's going on behind the scenes in those situations?
In business, early failures can actually be critical to long-term success. Many successful companies started with an idea that didn't initially resonate with the market. They had to pivot, iterate, and sometimes completely overhaul their business models before they found what worked. These setbacks force them to reassess their strategies and, importantly, to listen to their customers. For example, a company might launch a product that doesn't sell as expected. This failure pushes them to dig deeper into market research, to understand their customers' needs better, and to develop a product that truly addresses those needs. When they eventually find that sweet spot, they're often far more successful than if everything had gone smoothly from the start.
That makes sense. It's like failure sharpens the focus on what truly matters. The same principles seem to apply in sports, right? Athletes often face significant setbacks before reaching the top of their game.
Exactly, Camo. In sports, failure is an integral part of the journey. Athletes face injuries, defeats, and even seasons where nothing seems to go their way. But these challenges are what separate the good from the great. Take the athlete who misses a crucial shot, or the team that loses a championship game. Those moments are devastating, but they're also the catalyst for intense self-reflection and training. The best athletes learn from their mistakes, refining their techniques, improving their mental toughness, and coming back stronger. They understand that every failure is a lesson in disguise, a stepping stone toward eventual success.
It's fascinating to see how failure can act as a motivator rather than a deterrent. What about in entertainment? We often see people who've had early setbacks but later become icons. What's the common thread there?
In entertainment, the journey to success is often paved with rejection and criticism. Many of the world's most beloved artists, actors, and musicians faced numerous setbacks before achieving their breakthroughs. The common thread is persistence and a willingness to evolve. For instance, someone might audition for roles or release music that doesn't catch on immediately. These early failures force them to hone their craft, to try new approaches, and to develop a thicker skin. Over time, this process can lead to a unique style or voice that resonates with a wider audience. What initially seemed like failure was actually a necessary part of their creative evolution.
So it's really about reframing failure as a critical part of the success equation. What advice would you give to someone who's struggling with setbacks right now?
My advice is to embrace failure as part of the learning process. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, they're your greatest teachers. Reflect on what did not go right, but don't dwell on it. Instead, focus on what you can learn and how you can apply that knowledge moving forward. It's also important to stay resilient. Setbacks can be disheartening, but they're not the end of the road. Often they're just a detour. Keep your eyes on your long-term goals. Be willing to adapt and remember that every successful person you admire has likely failed multiple times before reaching their pinnacle.
That's such a valuable insight, Solomon. I love the idea that failures are just detours, not dead ends. As we wrap up, any final thoughts you'd like to leave our viewers with?
Just this, don't let the fear of failure hold you back. If you're not failing at something, you're probably not pushing yourself hard enough. Embrace your setbacks, learn from them, and keep moving forward. Success isn't about avoiding failure, it's about persisting through it.
Wise words to live by. Thanks so much for joining us today, Solomon. This has been an enlightening conversation.
Thank you, Camo. It's been a pleasure.
And thank you to our viewers for tuning in to another episode of Camo's Mirror. Remember, the next time you face a setback, don't shy away, look in the mirror, embrace the challenge, and keep pushing forward. If you enjoyed today's discussion, please subscribe, share this episode with others, and let us know your thoughts. Until next time, stay curious, stay resilient, and keep reflecting.